What's up guys, welcome to another tutorial video. Today's video will be on how we can go about making our own custom material. Sometimes you will not be able to find a material that you need on any free texture site, so you will have to adapt. So for today's video, there are no assets to download. All we need is within Keyshot. We will use the primitives and available textures to make a powder coat-like texture. For those who don't know, powder coat is the grainy textures that we find on Hydroflasks. So with that, let's get started. So to start off, I'll start with showing an image reference of what we're going to be trying to make. So here's a quick image of the Hydroflask that I was talking about. And when you actually have an image reference, there's a few things you should be looking for. You should be looking for the texture and its size and depth, and also the gloss to kind of help you get started with making the material. And with that, we'll get started in trying to replicate it. So getting started, I will go over to the Models tab and grab a rounded cube and drop it into my scene. Once that's there, I'll click OK. Then I'll actually right-click onto the actual model itself and go to Edit Material. I'll change the type to Plastic. And I usually change it to Plastic because it allows me extra flexibility on changing certain settings on the way it actually looks. Then from here, I will change up the color to match how the image reference looked like. And then once we get to a place like this, I'll hop over to the actual texture itself. So we'll go over here on the left side, click Textures, make sure it's on Bump Maps. And here we're actually going to look for the texture that best matches our actual image reference. So at a quick glance, we'll see that the asphalt one is the one that best matches our image reference. So we'll go over to the right and click Textures, and we'll grab our texture on the left, drag it to the right onto the Bump tab. Then once it's here, there's a few things that we can actually do with it to best match our image. So to start off, we're going to mess with the scale. So we do see that it is a bit big, so we're just going to try to make it a bit smaller. We'll start off with 0.2. Just going to zoom in real quick and see how it's looking so far. If you're having trouble rendering this, you could click the render region so you can get a smaller look. Get a faster render in that case. But so far so good. And if you remember the reference, it didn't have such a high gloss to it like we see here. So what we can do is go to the Properties tab and raise the roughness. So we'll just start off with a 0.2. So this does look a bit intense for the actual reference itself, so we're just going to half it. I think that looks better. But I do still see that the highlights still are a bit bright on it, so we can do actually is mess with the specularity. And if you remember, this actually messes with the brightness and intensity of those highlights on surfaces, so we're just going to make it a darker gray. Kind of get rid of those, make it look a little bit more dry. I think 82% is good enough. So we're just going to hop back to the Texture tab and scroll down to the bump height. This messes with the height of the actual bump that we see on the surface, so I'll start off just with 2. And once I actually raise the bump height, I do see that maybe the texture is a bit big still, so I'm just going to half it and see how that looks. I think that does look a lot better once you actually half it. I think I'll actually increase the bump height so you can actually see it better when you zoom out and render it. Cool. Okay, that definitely looks a lot better than before. And once you actually reach a place like this where you have major material and like how it looks, you can go up to the top where it says name and call it Powdercoat. Then we can actually hit the save button right here to save to our library to be used for future projects. I'll just save it here under metal. And you can double check if it worked if you go over here to the search bar in materials and type in Powdercoat. And there it is. And that's how you make your own materials in Keyshot. So that concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys to make your own materials in the future. Also, stay tuned for the next video where we'll be making our own HDRI presets and learn how to work with them. Also, if you do have any more questions or have any helpful tips, make sure to write them down below. I'll get to them as quickly as I can and see you in the next one.